All right. Welcome to the video. Let's talk about The Best Loser Wins by Tom Hougaard, Chapter 5. All right. When people ask me how I made it from paying for my day trading like it was a hobby, right? Like it was some kind of, a hobby that costs money, right? To becoming successful where my hobby actually made me money. It was this. It was this kind of stuff, right? It was realizing that I was the one getting in my own way, right? That I had several golden strategies available to me, and I wasn't able to play those out. Why? Tom Hougaard, it's one of the best books that points out, that just natural human instincts and behavior doesn't work well in the market. It doesn't want to make, money. It doesn't, it's built for comfort and safety. Okay. And to be successful, you have to be uncomfortable and you have to be willing to think outside of that safety. Right. Okay. So let's talk about it. All right. Your brain wants comfort, not success. So let's talk about this. In chapter 5, Hougaard deepens his exploration of the human mind's role in trading failure by explaining that our brains are wired for safety and not comfort, and not for success, right? So the human brain evolved to seek certainty and avoid pain. That's what we naturally do as humans, is we're wired for safety, comfort, and to avoid pain. All right. These instincts, while valuable in dangerous environments, are a liability in trading, where discomfort and uncertainty are ever present. All right. So Hougaard explains that traders often act in ways that feel good in the short term, but are destructive in the long term. For example, holding on to a losing trade avoids pain of accepting the loss. Let me just DCA. It's going down. I'll buy cheap. Guys, if you've ever read Market Wizards, you'll read about how these guys talk about, people are buy cheap, right? And they buy the market and it just keeps dumping and they lose everything. Okay. It's pretty much what it is. So while cutting winners early satisfies the urge to feel safe. So let's go over that again. All right. For example, holding on to losing trades avoids the pain of accepting the loss, while cutting winners early satisfies the urge to feel safe. Does that speak to anyone? If you've been a trader for any amount of time, you're like, yes, this is me. 100%. These actions feel right, but they are wrong in a trading context. That's why you need to trade market structure, in my opinion, right? The market structure can give you the foundation of where to get in, where to get out, where to put your stops, and where to take your profit. And you can make those decisions ahead of time to say, hey, I don't want this 0 to 0.85 R&R, right? I'm not going to risk $100 to make $60 or $70. Okay. I want to risk $100 to make two, three, $400. Okay. But that's how I can choose based on market structure, right? But I know where I'm getting in, I know where I'm getting out, I know when I'm taking profit ahead of time. Okay, yes, I do like a trailing stop that is based on market structure, so I don't always know exactly where I'm getting out, but I know what I'm targeting. I know clear what I'm targeting and what I'm shooting for. Okay, these actions feel right, but they are wrong in a trading context. The trader who blindly follows their instincts is doomed to repeat self-sabotaging behaviors. Does anybody fit that category? Like I said, I am the one who needs to get out of my way. Okay? That is what took me from making money to not making money, was getting out of my own way, understanding that I was the one sabotaging this. Okay? And it's the way I'm wired, right? So it's a good thing. Like it says, in certain dangerous situations, guess what? I have instincts that are going to be, protecting me and protecting my family, right? It's going to be seeking safety and comfort. All right. But when it comes to charting, when it comes to trading, I need to rewire. So he does advocate for rewiring the brain through discipline and habit building. Okay. When it comes to habit building, guys, just pick one or two habits at a time, preferably the one that's causing you the most, and train that habit out first before you go on to two, three, four, five. All right. And then sometimes you got to start over. That's what happened to me recently. I've shared it in my videos, right? I had trained greed out of myself, and then I allowed ambition to fuel greed to the point that I didn't even know it was there, but it was there so bad it threw me into a spiral. Okay. And you deal with this just one habit at a time. Okay. The key to trading success lies in conditioning yourself to act in ways that feel uncomfortable. Okay. You can't study and learn enough to where you are comfortable in front of the charts. Okay. I've talked with guys who have made seven figures. I've watched a lot of interviews of people who work for smart money, like real day traders, not silly YouTube prop firm traders like me, right? Who are just happy to scrape a little bit of change out of the pockets of the market. I'm talking about people who trade for real, like Tom Hougaard and all these other people who have worked for institutions who are trading millions of dollars. It's a different game, right? I'm just trying to get some change out of the market's pocket. And you know what? I'm happy with that because the change that I've gotten has been amazing and it is a blessing. All right. But they don't feel comfortable. Like I watched an interview of a guy who was like, who placed, a lot of you might know this video. He like placed in the top five in the Robbins Cup for like 3 years in a row, and he's like one of the number one scalp traders. And like he was sharing a strategy, and I was like, dang, that's really close to mine. There was a few things he did that I didn't, but he wasn't comfortable. He wasn't sitting back with a latte because he learned everything that he needed to know about the market and he knew he could beat it. No, he knew that there were times that he was going to be uncomfortable. All right. But even though you're uncomfortable, the one thing he does know is statistically he's correct, right? If in the long run, he knows if he loses five, six, seven trades in a row, there's a good one coming, right? Because he believes in what he's doing, he's proved it to himself, and he's lived it over and over again. All right. Stop strategy hopping. That's one of my recommendations. Okay. I don't care if you trade EMAs, Market Cipher, smart money concepts like I do, ICT, what it does not matter. Just stop jumping strategies. Find something that you like that works well with your brain, and then start focusing on that, executing, falling in love with that strategy, and then work on you as a trader. Okay. All right. Hougaard introduces the concept of anti-natural behavior. Buying during the fear and greed and uncertainty and doubt, all that FUD, and then selling on the hype. That's hard to do, guys, because when it's hyping, you're like, dude, this is going to go to the moon. Little do you know, it's already there. So what's coming after the moon? A retracement. All right. The international practice of doing what feels unnatural because it is where the edge lies. If you want to do what the 5% do, right? Because 95% fail, but you want to do what the 5% do, they do what everybody else can't do. All right. Because it's unnatural. So you got to really consider what he's saying here. All right. Now, this is a high stakes trader. This is a guy who trades more, who makes more out of like 10 points of the market move than I make in like a week. Okay. Like he's a high stakes trader. He knows the psychology behind this and how to be successful. Right? I'm still learning. But what I want to do, what my goal here on this YouTube channel is, I don't care if I ever blow up. Sure, that'd be cool. Let me make some money making some YouTube. But right now, my only goal is to share what is actually working for me, right? Which is listening to people like this, the real traders. There's a lot of YouTubers out there. I mean, I don't know if they're real or not, but I know the ones who are because I'm directly connected. I've seen them, I've traded with them, I communicate, I know they're real. Okay. So those are the people I try to learn from. He asserts that the best traders don't follow their feelings. Okay. They follow their systems. Like I said, I knew a guy traded EMAs. He killed it. He killed it. It was amazing. I was like, I can't trade EMAs like that. I know a guy who trades patterns. Okay, legit. He trades patterns, head and shoulders. He trades that stuff and flags. And he's teaching me this stuff. And I'm like, Bro, really? And he was successful and he had been successful for 40 years. And he worked on a trading floor. I'm not going to argue with that man. Okay. I don't like patterns. I didn't do well. All right. But I really think it was my psychology. I just didn't know that yet. Okay. Anyway. All right. So, study guide for application in day trading. So, let's take some of this. What can I do? Excuse me. When I do act on instinct versus my trading plan. So, what causes me to um, trade against my trading plan and go on my instinct? When do I do that? Is it when I'm tired or I don't feel good or I'm frustrated, right? Or I'm coming to the market because I've had a bad day and I want that W, all right? So answer this question to yourself. What causes this? I can tell you I had a bad day at work one time and I didn't realize it, but I opened my laptop to trade so I would feel better because I know how good a W feels. I didn't realize it at the time. I got obliterated that day, okay? Because I went to an unpredictable market and I didn't even follow my trading plan. I was going for W's. Not a good thing. Okay. What feels good but consistently results in bad outcomes? Taking profits too early. One of my phrases I don't like is you'll never go broke taking profits. You will. If you don't have good enough R&R to cover your losses, yep, that'll do it. All right. So answer these questions. What feels good but consistently results in bad outcomes? Right? Maybe your stop loss is just way too tight, right? And the reason why you do that is because instead of going in four mini cons, right? You go in on eight. And then you're like, dude, I can't risk $950 on this trade. Let me scoot that stop loss down. Oh, that feels better. That's better. I'll risk 400. Boop, stopped out. And then what? Continues in your direction, which you would have made money. And now you're calculating in your head, oh, if I had just. No, if you had not gone for what feels good and you had followed your trading plan and you risked the correct amount, what you should have done is sold half the position immediately, even if it was a tiny, excuse me, a tiny loss. Even if it was a tiny loss, maybe I'll edit that out, maybe I won't. I don't like editing, but maybe just take that tiny loss. That way you can have the right risk. I started doing that to myself. You know what I found out? Behaviorally, I started entering the correct amount because I didn't want to fix my mistake, which cost, $50, $100. Okay. All right. I am I training myself to follow discomfort or avoid it? This is huge. Okay. What are you doing? Are you working on being comfortable in trading? Are you trying to educate yourself to the point that you feel like you can call the market at every turn? All right. Are you looking for the golden strategy that closes 97.86789%? That way you can just go and execute and click and smile and golden goose and you just print money? I don't think that's the way it is. Okay. Every single high-end trader I'm connected to closes between 40 and like 70%. It depends on their strategy. All right. And some of their better strategies close at like 35-40% because they are getting high win rates. I'm sorry, high R&R. All right. But you have to be willing to lose more than you win. Just when you win big. Okay. So train yourself to follow discomfort. Okay. One of the things that I recommend for people, right, the ones that I've mentored, I said just watch the market and don't trade. Take a week and say, I'm going to watch the market and not trade. A lot of them are like, well, that's a waste of time. And I'm like, can you do it? Right? Because a lot of us, it's like we can't not trade. We have to be in a trade to feel good. I have to feel like I'm doing something. Right? And so that's one of my challenges is like, don't trade, just do it. Don't even paper trade. Not even allowed to paper trade because you can still get dopamine off paper. All right? Because you feel the W, so you feel good. Okay, so here we go. Let's do some principal application going on here. Here we go. Rewire your reactions. Use journaling to identify self-sabotaging instincts. Okay. If you trail your stop because you just can't handle the fact that it might reverse on you, right? And you get stopped out all the time early just for it to continue, you probably need to stop. Okay. Now I trail my stops, but I trail them based on market structure, right? I'm looking for highs, lows, excuse me, fair value gaps, things like that, right? So I look for reasons to trail my stop, not just random, places. All right. Um, Reward discipline over results. I don't care if it's a W. I don't care if it's an L. Did you do what you were supposed to do? Right. This was one of the biggest things that really helped me in the long run is I stopped rewarding myself for a win that I should have never taken. Okay. If I take a rando trade and I just happen to catch the top or bottom and it just goes in my favor, if I lose that trade, or I'm sorry, if even if I win that trade, I'm like, not good. That was an L, bro. That was an L. I should have never done that. Okay. And that's hard to do because you're like, dude, that worked. That felt good. I made money. That has results. But you got to be careful of that kind of stuff. All right. Lean into discomfort. Recognize discomfort as price of high performance. All right. Think about this with athletes. How much discomfort do they go through in the gym and in training and the pain and the suffering? Okay. I'm not exactly an athlete. All right. I kind of was in high school, so I understand this a little bit. But when I think about, people who, go for MMA, right, or bodybuilding, like anybody who's like training for triathlons or biking or anything, powerlifting, whatever. Okay. They lean into discomfort. All right. And they recognize that it's just a price for high performance. Do it with your trading. Lean into discomfort. You know, take take 5 trades where you will not move your stop loss. You're like, I'm gonna win these 5 trades by never moving my stop loss. Because every time I do, I get burned. And just let it happen. Teach yourself, right? I mean, make sure your stops are in the right place. Make sure that you are following, a structured plan. Okay. Replace instinct with routine. Use a checklist before every trade to override impulsive actions. All right. If you're just rando trading, this is something that can help you. I don't do this because I've built my routine into kind of habit, right? So I kind of naturally do this now. But there are times where I'm like, I'm going against my trade plan. I'm going against my And I literally had a trade. I got in, I made like $200, and then I just closed it because I'm like, I am not supposed to be in this trade. And I closed it. And I would have made more money if I'd held, but I wanted to stick with my plan. Okay, praying so hard not to cough. These trees are crazy. All right, train anti natural behavior. Do one thing per day that feels wrong but follows your system. Okay. Like I just said, if you know moving your stop to break even is your biggest problem and you get wicked out and it continues in your direction, just make yourself embrace that discomfort and make it happen. Okay. Here's some action steps this week you can do. Write down 3 trading impulses that regularly hurt your results. Okay. FOMO, revenge trading, moving your stops too early, trailing too tight, you know, targeting for like a 1 to 8 risk to reward ratio when you should be 1 to 2.5, 3 for a high win rate. Like figure it out. Find the stuff that's really causing you, that's really hurting your results. Like, dude, this smart money, man. You don't think they're sitting there with calculators and all that stuff? Of course they are. Okay, not saying you need to be a pencil pusher and be all, data driven and overly freaking out over spreadsheets, but pay attention to the stuff that hurts you really big, right? And especially if it's emotions and things. Create a if then plan to interrupt those impulses. If I am FOMOing, if the move's already happened and I'm FOMOing because I know I'm going to miss out, and I'm like, no, what are you going to do? Make a plan. You know what? I'm going to tell my buddy, I missed it, bro. I missed it. But the cool thing is, I saw it, right? So the next time I'll get it. Okay. So that could be your if then. Next time I'll get it. Okay. Interrupt those pulses. End the week by reflecting. Where did I choose discomfort over instinct? Okay. Our instincts are natural to be comfortable and to protect us. Okay. Losing does not feel good. My brain's going to go, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose. Failure to stop to take profit. Take, oh, you made back the money you lost from the last trade. Take it. I dealt with that actually. I had to look at the date last week. I had a trade. I kind of got burned. I was like, man, that's terrible. And I think I filmed it in on one trade, and I was like, oh, shame on you. But then, I had two losses, and they were both kind of, they were both kind of bigger, nothing crazy. But then I had a trade, and then it just like, boop, it went straight to where I was at break even. I'm like, I could feel it. I'm like, man, I could close the trade and go, ah, I made back my losses. That'll feel good. But I said, no, there's no reason to take profit right now. We're not near my target. We haven't shown any signs of reversal. I simply want to close this so I can feel better about the losses that I took earlier. No. And that trade continued. And I ended up making back what I lost and some. And I took profit where I was supposed to. And then I trailed like the last little bit and got a little extra. And yeah. Okay. But don't think just because I'm making this silly video that, I'm above any of this kind of stuff because I'm not. All right. All right. Post a visible reminder. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Okay. It's even biblical, really, because if you're slothful, sneak up on you like a thief in the night. Okay. So comfort is the enemy of growth. Just remember that. Okay. We're not trading to be comfortable. A lot of us, okay, so a lot of us want to day trade for freedom and to like have that comfort of money just flowing in. Like we're just able to take these skills and just print money. And it would bring us that comfort of life. That's why YouTubers with Lambos and watches and cigar shops and one of my buddies has a cigar shop thing, so I'm not busting on him because he's legit. Okay. But think about it. That's why we do this. Okay. So our brains are already, we're learning to trade so we can be comfortable. So how are we going to react in the market? Our brain's like, yeah, we want to be comfortable, don't you? Well, holding that doesn't make me comfortable. Keeping that stop loss where it is doesn't make me comfortable. Letting it ride, and not taking profit, that's not comfortable. Okay. So we started this journey with comfort in mind. And then we learn how hard it is and how almost impossible it is to be comfortable in this. Like I'm telling you guys, I'm talking guys that would blow me away in trading and they're not comfortable. You talk to them, sometimes they're stressed out when they're trading. You know, this is not a comfortable profession, but it can be very lucrative and you can do it. Okay. So, final quote from Tom. Tom says, your brain wants to protect you, but in trading, that protection will bankrupt you. I need a t shirt. I mean, I need me some Tom Hougaard, you know, gear. I need me a hat, a shirt. I'd go the whole tattoo route, but I think that's a little too much, right? Your brain wants to protect you, but in trading, that protection will bankrupt you. Okay. You can't protect yourself. Embrace being uncomfortable. I hope this has been super helpful to you guys. I'm honestly just openly sharing what has changed my approach to trading and what has brought me from blowing accounts, not making money, losing everything I put in to now being profitable. And this is what it is. Okay. It is the psychology. It is the way you think. And I just agree with almost everything I've ever heard from Tom Hougaard. Thank you, Tom, for everything you've done, for the books you've written, for all of guys. He's got a YouTube filled with what do you call them? Like where he goes to speak to people, right? He does those, and it's just amazing. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Really appreciate you, and share this out to someone you know is struggling with trading. I'm not trying to blow up and become some famous day trader YouTuber. I don't think it'll ever happen, but if I can help a handful of people, I'll be happy. That'll be a W. All right, see you guys.